Are you ready for your 10-minute fiction vacay? Do you need a little work break? Pick me up? Stay tuned. My name is Marie LeClaire, and I'll be reading the second chapter from my novel, The Last Yard Sale. The first chapter is already posted. If you like it, the ebook is free on most book-selling websites, including Amazon. At the end of the last chapter, our main character, Marybeth, found herself in possession of four very strange objects from a very strange yard sale. I hope you enjoy it. The Last Yard Sale, Chapter 2. On the drive home, Marybeth played over in her head the strange events at the last yard sale and wondered if she was going crazy. She fought the urge to pull over and check the back of the car for the four new items. Did this whole thing really just happen? Was this all some strange hallucination? She hadn't eaten all day, except for a few cookies. Would she get home and find that no last-minute items were in her car? She was quietly hoping that the items wouldn't be there. Better to be crazy than have magical things in her car, she reasoned. By the time she pulled into her driveway and opened the garage door, she was convinced that it was all some kind of daydream. But when she opened the hatch, the box of strange items was tucked neatly into the corner. Suddenly, she was very angry at herself. Why did I agree to take this junk? What was I thinking? Then she turned her anger to the old woman. And who the hell was she? She asked out loud. Avoiding the box, she began to unload the back of her Jeep into a garage that passed as a workshop. Shelves lined the three walls. Two large tables in the middle provided a multi-purpose work surface currently holding works in progress. The rhythm and routine of the task eased her nerves a bit as she started wondering about the other items in her car. What stories could they tell? She crinkled her nose at the musty odor of the old army footlocker as she dragged it out of the car and placed it in the garage. I bet you have some good ones. She placed it on the floor under the lowest shelf. And what about you? She asked as she dusted off a mantel clock sitting just above it. I can imagine the family dramas you've seen play out. As she touched each item, though, no magic, no visions. Once again, she wondered if that last stop had been real. Yard sailing started out of necessity and had quickly turned into a hobby and then into a small business. You need to have your own yard sale, a friend joked when her garage started busting at the seams. Instead, she had bought a table at a local flea market where she quickly sold out of her inventory. After a few months of success, she broke down and began to look for a storefront. It just so happened that a little shop opened up in downtown Pomeroy, right at the one traffic light that marked the center of town. She opened her doors two months later with one woman's junk, an antique boutique. The workshop had become a refuge from life's turmoil. In the last 2 years, she had ended her marriage, quit her job as a kindergarten teacher, sold her house as a condition of the divorce, and had a falling out with her sister, Regina, who had been her best friend. The news sent Regina into a rage, not at Eric, but at Marybeth. What? She asked incredulously when Marybeth told her about the divorce. How can that be? I don't understand. It's been a long time coming, she had replied. I haven't said anything because I didn't want you to think badly about Eric, if things work themselves out. Really? Because you don't think I have the ability to let go of things as long as you're happy and to support you and help you work things out? Isn't that what we've always done for each other? Regina had shot back. She was surprised by Regina's anger. No, not at all. It's not like that. I just didn't want you to get in the middle of my mess. I was in pain from all directions, and I couldn't even talk about it. I knew you shut me out about the baby. I guess I was naive to think that you would share other things. What else haven't you told me? Regina shouted on the way out the door. The rift between them felt like the Grand Canyon. It was one more thing that Marybeth felt guilty about. But at the time, she blamed her sister. They had always shared everything since childhood. But Marybeth felt ashamed by the state of her marriage and her failure to conceive a baby. She couldn't bear to talk about it, even with Regina. When the truth came out, Regina was deeply hurt. The result was a cool distance that seemed to keep growing. The situation with Regina fueled her anger at Eric. She didn't blame him, really. Okay, maybe she did. Consciously or not, he had mounted a campaign that crushed her spirit. Consciously or not, she had let him. Ever hopeful, she had expected that her joy would eventually rub off on him. Quite the contrary. His constant negative approach to life grew heavy over the years until she couldn't carry it any longer. Add to that 6 years of unsuccessful fertility treatment, and it finally took its toll. In the end, she was just as negative and depressed as he was. Looking back now, she wondered how she survived. She walked around the garage now, appreciating the transformations that occurred here. As she ran her hands over the top of a kitchen table she had just refinished, she remembered the bumps and dents that covered it when she'd picked it up for $30. The new finished product brought out the beauty in the wood, and it felt silky smooth to the touch. She was always learning new skills to recreate and restore old things. In the corner was a beautiful captain's chair she'd picked up last month. The only thing it needed was a new cane seat and a little cleaning. Her fingers were raw by the time it was done, but the payoff was a truly beautiful piece of furniture. Over the last 2 years, she had taught herself toll painting, crocheting, macrame, furniture refinishing, and stained glass work. She had also found that she had a creative knack for reinventing items for different purposes. Old picture frames transformed into tabletops or fancy mirrors, and almost anything that could become wall art these days. Last week, she spray painted a couple of hubcaps, wired them together, and hung them in the shop. They sold instantly. Surveying the garage once more, she turned her gaze to the driveway. The Jeep stood with its hatch up, defiantly announcing the sole remaining item, still tucked in the corner. There was no avoiding it now. Leaving it until morning would result in a torturous night's sleep, worrying about it. She looked up and down the street to make sure no nosy neighbors were watching. Cautiously approaching it, she tapped it, then backed off a few times to be sure nothing weird would happen. When she was convinced it was safe, she brought it in and placed it on the other side of the garage, away from the rest of the occupants. What am I worried about? She said out loud. They'll talk to each other? Looking at the box, she worried again about her sanity. Shaking her head in disgust, she headed into the house for dinner. We've come to the end of the story. I'm happy you stayed with me. I hope you're feeling better than when we started. Sometimes all it takes is a little vacay in the middle of the day. If you're wanting a bit more of the story, you can stay tuned and I will continue to post chapters on my channel, or you can check out my website, marie-leclaire.com. You can check out my novels directly on Amazon too. And you can also pick up the last yard sale at no cost. The links are in the description below. And please like and comment before you go. See you at the next vacay. I wonder where that will be.